Welcome back to Her Fantasy Football. Woohoo! We took some time off after the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I apologize, but we're here. We're live. We're live. We're going to do a little recap off season. You guys can always listen to us on Blog Talk Radio / Her Fantasy Football and on iTunes. Make sure to hop over to our site, herfantasyfootball.com, and you can chat with us on Facebook / Her Fantasy Football and on Twitter at Her Fantasy FB. I'm your host, Courtney Williams.
And I'm Ashley Williams.
I'm not Courtney Williams. I'm Courtney Kirby. Ew. Sorry.
We're already
live.
Well, I'm Ashley Williams.
I had a break. I forgot who I was.
I'm Brandon Marianne Lee.
Someone got their name right this time.
Brandon, the one who's had 8 different names, is the one who got her name right. It's amazing.
That's right.
Ashley will only be a Williams for another month and a half, right, Ash? Are you going to change names on us on the podcast?
I don't know. I might stick with my stage name. That's what I'm calling it.
Stage name. I like that.
No,
Which is
I would
Courtney
have.
my stage name.
If I had the liberty to do it.
Yeah.
I would not have changed my name had I not had a man's name.
I'm just adding to my name. I'm not dropping my last name, so I figure it works.
Absolutely.
Like, I'm not going to change my email either. I'm like, well, I've had this email for a long time. We're going to stick with it.
Yeah. At this point, why not?
Seriously. That seems too technical.
It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. A lot of work. Well, guys, I'm sorry we've been gone for so long. It feels like a while. We
It
were
does.
doing our notes, and we're like, man, where do we get started?
I had to
Week
apologize on Twitter today
17?
for my absence. I was like, I'm sorry, guys. All the Colin Kaepernick and Johnny Manziel talk to the Broncos sent me to a really dark place.
It is. And that's where we're going to start, Ashley. We're going to start with the Denver Broncos because we're all Denver Broncos fans. We're here from the city. That's just where we're going to start. And the drama just continues for the Denver Broncos after winning the Super Bowl. So it's just really, really depressing. Repeat. I love that, Brandon.
I love that all of us are like, yeah, no.
No.
I feel like the Ravens were like that too. They were like, yeah, no. That was a one-timer.
Good talk. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's done now.
Nope.
But yeah, there's no question the Broncos have been busy this offseason giving away players. So annoying for us Broncos fans. We lost Danny Trevathan, excuse me.
Trevathan.
Yes, Malik Jackson, Vernon Davis, Evan Mathis, and most recently Ryan Clady. So there goes several good players, along with many others. We also said goodbye to the guard Luis Vasquez and Daniel Owens.
Are you going to be sad, Courtney? I hope he goes somewhere.
Disrespect.
I know. I
And
want
you
him.
have him again this year.
I do. I really hope he doesn't go to the 49ers or the Cleveland Browns, and I get to have him.
There you go.
I will not take those two teams.
You and your name thing, it kills me every time. I
Oh
know
my
I
God.
should be bored by now, but I'm not. I love it. I want you to mess up everyone's name you don't like over
Oh
and
my
over
God,
again.
and I'm about to do it again, even though I listened to it several times. But I'm gonna have you guys help me out here. We picked up OT Russell Okong.
This is
Right?
my favorite part, not pronouncing names.
Yeah.
Off the offensive tackle. Yeah.
I should know it because I've listened to it over and over again, guys. I swear, I do
You
my.
said it slow, and it's 1 in the morning on the East Coast, so
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure I heard you
Yeah.
correct, but it's fine.
It's fine. It's
a
good.
tackle.
It's
and we got
perfect.
Donald
Yes.
Daniels too. Yeah,
Yes,
that's
we got
it.
Donald Daniels.
Right.
And of course, we franchise tag Super Bowl 50 champion MVP Dancing with the Stars. Have you seen him? He's amazing. And Johnny Manziel's new roommate. Just kidding. Von Miller stayed on the team.
I love how quick he was to shut that down. Like, no, he is not my roommate.
Well, and then
He
Johnny
supports
Manziel
him,
got,
but
sorry, Vaughn. I shouldn't have said that. Not cool. We also
I'll rant
re-signed
about him
C.J.
later.
Anderson. Yeah. We also re-signed C.J. Anderson, and of course, it's the quarterback situation in the Denver Broncos. It's getting kind of crazy. We let Brock Osweiler go. Bye,
He left us.
Felicia.
I'm okay with that.
Bye-bye.
I'm okay with it.
Adios. I could care less about you.
He got
Right,
stupid
Friday.
money. Stupid money.
Yeah, stupid money. Yeah, of course. Really dumb money for somebody who hasn't proved himself worth anything, but okay.
Money
sure.
well spent, though, is Mark Sanchez.
Mark Sanchez. Yes. And I'm sure a lot of people are like, what the heck? No way. What's going on? What are they thinking? But we love Mark Sanchez here at Her Fantasy Football. And I'm totally okay with if that's who
Speak
we
for
have to roll
yourself.
with. Oh, Brandon, you've loved him everywhere except now. So
Yeah.
don't even try
That's
to
right.
That's right.
backtrack
Once
you.
the butt fumble happened, I'm
Oh,
saying
please. Oh, please.
Okay, first of all, the butt fumble could have happened to anybody.
Anyone.
stop.
Watch the sports science. It was physically impossible for him to not butt fumble. I'm dead serious. Watch it. It's fascinating sports science.
Fascinating.
They even had they had a guy. I was like, what actor did they pay to repeatedly do the butt fumble over and over again? So they were like actually calculating scientifically the projections and all that. It was hilarious. They have like a little dummy body that he's hitting. It's fantastic. I'm okay with that. For the money, I think it's great. I will stick by the fact that I would take Sanchez any day of the week over Kaepernick. Not even a question in my
Well,
head.
good luck with that.
Not even a question.
Well, yeah. Ashley at Easter said that she was going to have a hard time being a Broncos fan if Kaepernick is her quarterback. So
I stand by
she's
that.
going to be airing in one of those new NFL sweater commercials
Uh-huh.
where it's like every year you get a new sweater because you have a new favorite team.
That's
It's gonna
right.
be you, Ashley.
If Colin Kaepernick joins the Broncos, I encourage anyone to send me your team's jersey, and I'll wear it that week because I won't have a team.
Aw, it's so sad to be a Fairweather fan.
I
I
hate
love
Colin
you,
Kaepernick very
Kaepernick.
much.
If you come, I will support you. You're not my favorite, but I will support you because that's what we do at Broncos Nation.
Mm-mm.
# blue and orange. But anyways, we don't know who's going to be the quarterback. There's even a possibility we're going to get a quarterback in the draft.
Ugh.
Not that I'm in love with any of the quarterbacks that low in the draft, but c'est la vie. You never know. You never know. Tom Brady. You always say that. There's always Tom Brady somewhere, right? But just a fun little quick thing for you. Here's Sanchez's stat. In 2014, when he played 9 games for Philadelphia, 64% percentage completion rate with 2,418 yards and 14 touchdowns. Osweiler's, again, 9 games for Denver last year, 61% completion rate, only 1,967 yards and 10 touchdowns. I'm just saying, since Sanchez is clearly the better quarterback.
And half the money.
Drop the mic. Like a fifth of the money. Yeah.
I'm telling you, if you're a late round quarterback person in the draft for fantasy this year, if Sanchez isn't the starter, I will agree with you. I think that if he's a end of the draft flyer, it's not insane.
It's not insane. So, I mean, yeah.
I'm with you.
I think they're going to establish more of a run this year than last year because they have Sanchez.
I think Sanchez can throw the ball.
I think he's perfect for a Kubiak offense. I really
I don't know why you're laughing.
No, I just love that this is how we're
Osweiler
starting
just got
off
paid
coming back. Let's
$18
fight about Marcus
million
Sanchez.
for proving nothing, and Sanchez wasn't even the starter.
I don't know. I think Kubiak's
Nine-
offense can't be saved with anyone, so who cares?
But Sanchez is perfect for Kubiak's offense. He just does what he's asked.
What offense?
Kubiak,
There is no Kubiak offense.
That's true. But Kubiak
Zero
wants,
offense.
Kubiak wants his little puppet, which Peyton Manning was not, and that's where the conflict, arose last season.
Really, there was Osweiler.
And Sanchez will be that guy. And Sanchez is also good veteran leadership, and he's come in acting like the leader, acting like a veteran. He's a
I
well-liked team player. I think he's a great fit.
I agree. I agree with that. And I have nothing bad to say about Mark Sanchez personally. He's always seemed like a very nice person. So at least there's that.
He
As long
also
as it's
made
not
it
Johnny
very
Manziel.
clear that he didn't have a girlfriend, didn't have a wife, didn't have children. He's here to play football. I like that too.
Although I think that people with wives and children can play football too. But sure, yeah, I think that's great.
They can't, Brandon.
Oh my God, Brandon's on a roll tonight. We should have started hours earlier.
I know.
Let's get
I
into
know.
Brandon.
But
Kansas
you don't
City
love it? He's
Chiefs.
making a point. Love it.
Oh, well, we might as well talk about the Chiefs, right? Okay, so Kansas City extended Travis Kelce, so you can already count him as probably the overdrafted player of the year this year. Listen, he's fine. Just don't don't reach for him, please. I'm already begging you. I'll beg you all year. They added Courtney's favorite, Rod Streeter, wide receiver extraordinaire.
Woo!
Now, the biggest news is that the team was penalized for tampering with Jeremy Maclin last season, which, duh. I mean, everyone was like ragging on Chip Kelly not getting Jeremy Maclin back. Chip Kelly wanted Jeremy Maclin back, but Andy Reid had already offered him more than the money that he wanted. Okay, so it was off the table, and he didn't want to go back to Chip Kelly anyway, but what I'm saying is that it was clear tampering. And by the way, the Kansas City Chiefs have not even debated. They've said, yeah, we contacted him. I mean, it's like, it's just crazy. So anyway, this year they're going to lose their 3rd-round pick. Next year they lose their 7th-round pick. The team was fined $250,000. Andy Reid fined $75,000. Their GM fined $25,000. So, it is what it is. The team needs a cornerback coming up on the draft. The draft is obviously at the end of the month. And they lost Sean Smith in free agency. He's a guy with an 83.8 Pro Football Focus grade. I mean, you can tell that when he was out, remember, they were giving up the most yards to wide receivers. It was horrible, so they obviously need some help there. And even though Streeter is Courtney's favorite, I still think they need some help over there at wide receiver in Kansas City. They have some young talent, but it hasn't really worked out quite to the level they want. Come on, Chris Conley. I believe in you year 2, my friend.
Raiders, Ashley.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to start with a quite impressive stat because I want to start off this year optimistic. Derek Carr, he has thrown for 53 touchdown passes in his first 2 seasons, which is only second to the great Dan Marino, who holds the record with 68 touchdown passes. Could you believe that?
I can't believe Dan Marino did 68 in his first 2 years. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. And 53 for Derek Carr. So, really great growth from this player. I think he's just going to grow even more. I want to look for him to be, I'm going to say, a top 8 quarterback this season.
Consistently? Because he was like top 5 the first half and then
consistently.
fell off.
I'm going to say consistently,
all right.
top 8. Will for sure end up top 8 by the end of the season. I really like Derek Carr. I really like him. Now, Oakland Raiders have exclusive rights with free agency Seth Roberts. They re-signed him, which is good news. He's kind of that slot receiver guy in terms of the speed behind Amari Cooper, so I like him. I think this is more tools that's just being shored up for Derek Carr. I like that. Now, we've got a fun running back situation in Oakland as well, where there's a lot of talk that they need to add a running back. But then Jack Del Rio is going on basically saying that they don't really need to. They've got Latavius Murray. They feel good with him. But then they weren't actually great in the run last year. So I think they do actually possibly need some help. I think this is their way of just really telling Murray, you're our guy. You're our guy. Don't freak out, which I kind of like that they're not going to constantly just put him, in a competition situation. He's their guy, which I like. Clive Walford's role is expected to expand in 2016, the tight end. So look for that. Courtney was a big fan of him. He was coming on pretty strong at the end of the season. And I think he's going to be...
And his name's Clive.
Great name.
Hello.
Great name.
Like Olive for a woman. I like that too.
And then Aldon Smith is back, guys. He reached a contract agreement on April 4th for a 2-year deal. Now, he was serving a 1-year suspension for violating the NFL's substance abuse policy. But
yes.
Welcome back. Welcome back. And then free agent Reggie Nelson, who is formerly the Bengals, he has agreed to a 2-year deal as well. So they're kind of starting to shore up their defense a little bit. I think the Raiders could be a contender this year.
Or
in the AFC West. Just there.
Okay.
To maybe take it. I mean, the Broncos aren't going to be as great.
Clearly Sanchez can't get it done, and Kaepernick won't get it done. So the Raiders better get it done. San Diego, on the other hand, they're still trying to recover from last year. Really rough on them. Completely new coaching staff, except for the head coach, Mike McCoy. He's still there.
How?
I don't know why they don't get Norv Turner back.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to be judging, but how does Mike McCoy keep his job and other people?
Well, I appreciate that for San Diego because give the coaches a chance. He only had him for 1 full season, so
I'm okay.
2 full seasons, I guess. So. I think that's okay. Yeah. It's like walk the plank tonight with everybody.
Yeah, it really is.
I'm back in mid-season form.
From the ledge, Brandon. It's okay. It's
like, how is that guy in the NFL still? How is he even a coach?
Oh, we'll get there. Don't worry.
Oh man, they did add Travis Benjamin, which I think I like.
I love
think I
it.
do. I keep going
do
back
too.
and forth, but I think
Takes over for Floyd.
I feel good about it. I think it's a great move.
Sexy.
yeah, I think it's gonna be good. I think it's a lot of competition, actually. Which I don't think is a bad thing, but for fantasy wise, I don't know if you're gonna be seeing those huge games out of Travis Benjamin that you did in Cleveland with one of the quarterbacks.
Yeah,
So
but
I don't know.
It's all about Rivers, right?
So
I mean, it's
I
whether
think
or not you believe that Rivers is going to be decent this year, or if he's hit that wall of age.
No, I don't think it's necessarily all Rivers. I mean, there's people who play there already, in the receiving core that are good. Obviously Keenan Allen is the star, and then you have Inman and somebody else that I can't think of right now, and then
Floyd retired.
Floyd retired, but then you have Woodhead too. That's a receiver, basically.
Well, that's true. Yeah, he's a receiver. That's legit.
And, yeah, and
I think there's a place for him because Rivers just likes to throw.
I do, but for fantasy purposes, like he's not the number one only target like he was in Cleveland.
No, but he's a perfect stream.
He is. I
good
think it will
matchup.
only. But to me, I feel like I think it's more beneficial to Keenan Allen and Phillip Rivers than it might be for Travis Benjamin. I like him. I just
agree.
am really worried about him with targets.
Yeah.
And
No,
it's
agree.
like Kenny Stills kind of thing. Like maybe only needs 3 targets to like have huge fantasy impact. But I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how it all plays off with preseason for me for Travis. But the Chargers recently added tight end Jeff Cumberland to help with the never-aging Antonio Gates, who got a new 2-year deal, which I can't believe it. I just can't believe it. I just love it.
Awesome.
I love it. I just love it. It's crazy.
He is the most hilarious player to watch because
Man
he's
doesn't die.
like
Like
huge.
slow-mo. Yeah.
But he still gets it done.
Yeah,
He does. It's amazing. It's
When he's on the field.
fantastic when he's on the field. But, hey, another year. Buffalo
Again,
Bills.
I'm a negative Nancy.
You are. You are.
So the Buffalo Bills have made some defensive moves to clear up some cap space, which is good and bad depending on how you look at it. They released defensive end Mario Williams as well as cornerback Ladois McKelvin, which is good. So that freed up about $12.5 million with just McKelvin alone being gone, which they needed that space to open up. Now, unfortunately, Boobie Dixon is gone, which makes me very sad just because I just love saying that name. But I may not even get this team back next year, so it's fine. But they also signed Richie Incognito, so that's interesting. He's one of those players that's kind of on that almost like blacklist level, but not quite. And there's always some coach who's going to be out there to reach out to them, and the Bills are the team. So second chances, here we go. Now, Charles Clay restructured his contract, which was good, which freed up $7.5 million. So it's always great when you see players are willing to restructure. Plus, I think his production has really dropped down. So that's good as well. Dan Carpenter restructured his contract. And then we've also got a deal with Greg Salas. I don't know if that's how you say his name. But he's now replacing essentially Chris Hogan, who is coming in, who signed with the Patriots. But we also have Leonard Hankerson coming in to also kind of fill that wide receiver 3 role. So it's going to be interesting to see during camp who's kind of battling out for that position. Again, none of these guys are really guys that you're going to want to roster.
I thought Leonard Hankerson had so much potential last year.
He does, but he always has potential, and he never produces for you in a consistent way. I'd rather take Travis
he's
Benjamin.
a sleeper here.
You think he's a sleeper?
I think he's a sleeper here. I love Tyrod Taylor. I know you're going to get into what's going on with the Bills and all that sort of stuff with that. But if Tyrod Taylor can continue being the guy, which he deserves, in my humble opinion.
Agreed.
I think he's a perfect number 2 to Sammy Watkins. I think he complements it very well. I mean, they need him. Percy Harvin never is healthy.
So
they got rid of Chris Hogan. It's over. It's got to be Leonard Hankerson, right?
Well, Percy has to decide if he's going to retire.
Oh, please. Even if he doesn't, he gets hurt all the time. And I'm sorry to say that, but that's the reality. I'm not trying to be a jerk. But I
think he's got potential. I just don't know if I would count on him as a wide receiver 2 on my team. He's good. I would maybe consider him a wide receiver.
No, he's wide receiver 2 for the Bills. Right. No, of course. No, he's a wide receiver 3 or flex, but to me, he's got so much upside, right? I mean, Tyrod Taylor got
He's a
Sammy Watkins
roster
the ball.
spot almost.
Yeah.
He's a
He's
deep
just a roster
spot.
spot.
But I'd rather have Travis Benjamin if I had to choose, personally.
Sure.
But you are right, Bram. We're talking
Yeah.
about Tyrod Taylor. It's really interesting because the Bills have been hosting dinners and really scouting a lot of these quote-unquote hot quarterbacks in the draft. And it's just kind of a disconnect for me because they just don't seem set on Tyrod Taylor as their quarterback. You know, he's under contract through 2016, but they have very little interest at all in really talking with him. You know, and I don't understand. Like, he's got such potential. What is the disconnect here? I'll take you, Tyrod.
Send him to the Broncos.
Come to the
That's what
Broncos.
I'm saying.
Please.
There were rumors that he was interested in the Broncos.
Yeah,
and I
I
was like,
heard
well,
that.
that's heaven.
He should be, but I think
That's
for
what
me
heaven
it's
looks
really
like.
hard for me to analyze any of these players until we know the quarterback situation. I
Correct.
think it's going to be Tyrod. I don't imagine they're going to draft a rookie and put the rookie in right away, but maybe they would. Maybe they really just don't value Tyrod Taylor, which doesn't make sense to me based on how he did in 2015. So much raw potential there. I just don't understand it.
I don't know if any of those quarterbacks are ready to start day one.
And
I know
don't
everyone's
disagree
into
with you,
Carson
but-
Wentz, you know, and they're like, he's going to go to Cleveland and it's cold weather and the Dakota thing. And, you know, don't get me wrong. I got a little Carson Wentz fever myself. I think he's great. But I still don't think he's day one.
No,
No.
they have to stop putting these quarterbacks in
Day one.
the first snap. It's just
Especially
crazy.
not an option.
Yeah, they need to stop doing that, especially this class. None of these guys are all-stars. None of these guys are, you know, like...
Yeah,
the
they're all
next-
kind of...
Yeah.
At this point, they're not. And again, there's always that star, but they usually sit behind somebody for 2 or 3 years.
Right. And Paxton Lynch is like athletic and everything. I mean, they have qualities that are great. I don't want to diss them as players. I'm saying you have Tyrod Taylor.
Yeah, but Tyrod
There's
Taylor has
rumors that
great
the Broncos
qualities.
might take Paxton Lynch. But
How are they going to get Paxton Lynch? He's not going to fall to them at 30.
He's not
I
gonna
mean,
fall.
they'd have to trade up and
I mean, maybe he'd fall. You never know, but...
maybe.
a lot of people hurt on... It's going to be an offensive line kind of draft, I have a feeling.
Well, and the best talents there too.
Yeah, it's going to be going, but we'll see. The Dolphins, Adam Gase is the new face of the Dolphins coaching staff, and as they say hello to the new coaches, they say goodbye to Lamar Miller. Goodbye. He joins the Houston Texans. Adios.
Well, they didn't use him anyway.
And they just signed running backs Daniel Thomas and Isaiah Peed, who they will not probably use either. So, they also signed C.J. Anderson. Remember that? Oh yeah, but he recanted that one. He's back to the Broncos. Greg Jennings is off the team and has yet to find a new home. That's kind of sad. I hate when they get old. It's kind of depressing. What does that mean? I think that, I think that the Miami is going to be working on the offensive line. They've been working on their defense. They got Mario Williams, and I love him. I really think the Miami defense is going to be much better this year, which is good. I thought they were going to be better last year, and they weren't, but I really think that they're going to be better this year. And hopefully if they can get a couple more people for that offensive line. I know they've been working on it to keep Tannehill upright. That would be fantastic, and that can only help Mr. Jarvis Landry. Rashard Matthews has found a new home as well.
Yeah.
He's no longer a Miami Dolphin. The New England Patriots.
Well, the biggest signing of free agency, in my humble opinion, is Martellus Bennett to the New England Patriots. I don't know how the winning keep winning.
I was shocked when I heard that. I was like, you've got to be kidding me.
I just threw my hands up. I was like, why don't we just put them in the playoffs right away? Why do we even play the season? Just put
Where
the
do they
kids
find
in
all
the
this
playoffs.
money? Are these people not getting paid?
Because they don't
not
draft
a people
people. I'm telling you, what they do is that they find these gems in the draft, but they always trade out of the first round. So they don't have a first-round pick this year, by the way. So it's 31 picks instead of 32 because of Spygate.
Right.
But who cares? They never use their first-round pick anyway.
Sure, they always trade it. So, but it's good because they're not paying first-round money.
Exactly. It actually doesn't hurt them at all, to be entirely. I mean, I shouldn't say that. A lot of New England Patriots fans are going to say to me, Brandon, that's crazy. It hurts them. Maybe. But this is what they do. They're
They
so
don't
good
show
at
that it
finding
hurts.
bargains. They're
Yeah.
so good at finding these free agents. And you know what? They're very meticulous about who they select. I have to give it up to them. They're fantastic.
Yeah.
And Martellus Bennett is the answer that they're looking for. They want these tight end heavy sets, right? But they got rid of Scott Chandler, as they should. They've never found an answer to the Aaron Hernandez murder trial. Never. Well, it's Martellus Bennett.
Till now.
It's going to be a
Because Martellus
mini-series,
Bennett
you guys.
is a little bit arrogant. There's no doubt about it. He's a locker room problem. The Bears had a lot of problems with him. They were shopping him around for a while, so the Patriots swooped in with a discount. And but who cares? That's the Patriots' specialty, is taking on these kind of players that have locker room issues and making them better. This is what they do.
Not a problem.
Anyway, I'm losing my mind. The 2 prior years with the Bears, he had 759 and 916 yards. He's going to bounce back to the area, in my opinion, and they're going to be lethal in the red zone. Lethal.
Yeah.
But anyway, now he gets Brady instead of Cutler, so congratulations, Martellus Bennett. You won free agency. I just, there you go. So, listen, he could also disappear into oblivion because you know what? This is the Patriots, and we just never know. But you know what? As far as I'm concerned, I think you need to check out of the Danny Amendola train if you have him on like some sort of dynasty league. You think he's a sleeper? I don't think so. Not only do I think it's Martellus Bennett, but I also think it's Chris Hogan, which is a very kind of hush-hush signing that happened. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens in the offseason. Watch his OTAs. Chris Hogan's always kind of the guy who has random good games.
He does, yeah.
Or shows up for random good catches. He's kind of like a newer Danny Amendola type. That was kind of his game. So anyway, now that they don't have Brandon LaFell, I only catch 50% of my passes. I think it's going to be a Hogan Martellus Bennett show. I mean, obviously it's always the Gronk show. I mean, they're always, and then Julian Edelman, but I think these are 2 other things. And again, they also re-signed LeGarrette Blount. I think they're fine. There you go. And you know what? They don't have a first-round pick, whatever. They're going to focus on that offensive line because Brady's not getting any younger, and they're just going to do it the rest of the way.
Nice. Jets.
Darrelle Revis. He had surgery on his wrist, guys, for a torn ligament. Do you remember when I tore the ligament in my hand hitting a pinata / not hitting the pinata and missing and tearing the ligament?
Darrelle Revis did not do that by missing a pinata.
Missing a full golf season. Well, I feel your pain, Darrelle. I hope surgery went well. Let me know. I still have my cast I can give you, my little. But he's going to be in a hard cast for 2 to 3 months, and he will more than likely miss the off-season activities. But it's Revis. Who cares? Like he's prepared. He's expected to be ready for training camp. He's probably going to get that kind of vet treatment for the most part anyway, so I'm not even remotely concerned about his pinata injury. He didn't swing a pinata. I did, but just put that in there. Ryan Fitzpatrick.
You never know.
Guys.
It's off season.
That's
Crazy
true. We
things
don't know
happen.
what happened.
We
I love
don't
how
know.
everybody complains about, not everybody, but a lot of people are complaining about the whole like Antonio Brown and Von Miller dancing. I'm like, at least they're dancing and not out like playing basketball with their. How many remember all those injuries playing basketball with their friends, or a random like pinata injury or whatever, or like so he's dancing, whatever.
Or like Tom Brady jumping off a cliff
Right. Yeah.
with those weird wrists.
Exactly. So you do you. Ryan Fitzpatrick, though, guys, I'm a little nervous for my bearded wonder. It's very concerning to me. They've not made any progress in contract talks, really. Fitzpatrick is still being targeted as their quarterback, allegedly. But they got a gap here on the terms of the money that they want. And I understand it because Fitz knows this is his last contract negotiation, really, for good money. It is what it is. So he's going to try to get what he can out of it. He's holding out. I completely understand. And when guys like Brock get the money they get, it's hard to justify not paying Fitzy the same kind of money. So, interesting situation. But allegedly, they're targeting tight ends in the draft, with Hunter Henry being the person that they want to target. They think they might be able to get him. So keep an eye on that. I think that'd be great to add a tight end. Clearly, Jay Samaro is not necessarily the answer for this team, so I'll be really intrigued. There's such potential there, but I mean, it's kind of panned out how it's going to pan out, I feel like. So they're kind of going to switch directions, possibly looking for a tight end in the draft. And like Courtney said, they did get Ryan Clady. Now, I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, because Ryan Clady really struggles to stay healthy. In theory, it could be great because he's a Pro Bowl offensive tackle, but if he's injured, that's not going to help them out at all. So, it's a really interesting situation there. I don't know if I'd say it's a win for them, but the Broncos were able to clear some money off their books, so I understand why they did it.
And Matt Forte. Was that just so old news that he's
it was so old news that I just...
That's the problem with us not doing this show, but I wanted to freak out because I'm so glad he's in the state with me now.
It's true. I was kind of like, well, yeah, and Matt Forte, but it's true. It's so hard. We're like,
all the boys moved out to the east for you, Brandon.
They really do.
Following you.
I will interview one of them one of these days.
There you go.
I'm looking at you, Matt Forte. We're going to be best friends.
Houston Texans.
The Texans, as we were talking about, gave Brock Osweiler $37 million guaranteed over the next 2 seasons to not be Brian Hoyer. Yeah. That is really all they're requesting of him.
Yeah.
Just do not be Brian Hoyer.
I think it's way too much, and I cannot wait till Houston falls on their face. I'm sorry. Houston is a place for quarterbacks to go and die, and
poor Hoyer. He is a 6'8" tall drink of water, hopes to prove that he's worth his price. Eek. I mean, in good news, we get to work with DeAndre Hopkins, so that's good.
Yeah.
And he'll get to work with Lamar Miller. Other than Matt Forte and the New York Jets, which I am one of the very few people that actually thinks he's going to be a big deal there, but Lamar Miller, everyone knows, is going to be a big deal in Houston. Why? Because they're looking at Arian Foster numbers. Also, this guy, even though, and I'm not kidding you, there were games where the frickin' Miami Dolphins would only hand him the ball 9 times.
Yeah.
The guy averaged 4.5 yards per carry and 8.4 yards per reception on the season without barely any usage.
Yeah, his pitch count was ridiculous.
Every single week I was angry at Lamar Miller, but not because of Lamar Miller, because of the Dolphins. But anyway, they're not going to do that in Houston. They're not going to do that in Houston, so don't worry. Unfortunately, everyone else will know that. You're not going to be able to get a deal. But you know what? A lot of people this year are going to go, we haven't really talked about technique here yet, but a lot of people are going to go wide receiver, the top 2 rounds. If you are someone that wants to buck the system and say, you know what, I am going to go running back in the first round or the second round, Lamar Miller, that's who I would say you have to get.
There you hear
Anyway, I'm obsessed. I would like the Texans to draft a wide receiver or tight end. What?
I don't know if I'm that obsessed about Lamar Miller.
The excitement about Lamar Miller is awesome.
Yeah, I'm into
I don't disagree with you.
And I love the facts that you have displayed here. But at the end of the day, it's still Lamar Miller. And I know they're 4.5, but there's a reason why it can't just be because they're not using.
Here's why I think
not using him correctly, because they've had several coaches with him.
But here was Lamar's issue always. A, carries. He never could get his groove. When he was getting carries, he always had great games.
Yes.
And B, Lamar Miller's one of those guys. I feel like when you're playing sports, then there's coaches. You've got certain players that you got to encourage. They need to feel secure in their role, and then they play well. And then there's other people that almost need to feel like they're about to lose a role at all times to play well. That is not Lamar Miller.
No, he needs
to be coddled. They always threw in a competition, he would just drop off and be horrible. Yeah, and he doesn't really have a competition with Texans. It's him.
They're not interested. They want to drive him into the ground. They want to treat him like DeMarco Murray circa 2014.
So I'm okay with that. I'm okay with Lamar Miller, Brad. I'm okay with it. I'm on the train
I'm the only one who's crazy town, probably. Probably it's just me. I'm just telling you.
I like Lamar Miller. I'm just I don't know if I'm
I've been negative all night. This is my only positive moment.
This is true. You know what? Go.
Feeling it, Brandon.
Go Lamar Miller. Houston Texans Super Bowl champs.
Because you know what I'm going to tell you right now? I wish that they would draft a wide receiver or a tight end. Do you know who the Texans tight ends were?
No, they don't have any.
No, did they?
Ryan Griffin and C.J. Fedorowicz combined. They scored 3 touchdowns all season.
It's a great name.
Love
He
it.
clearly did not play much, or we would have said Fedorowicz a lot last
A
season.
lot.
There was no reason to say that word.
Of course there wasn't. There was barely a reason to say Griffin.
There's barely a reason to say Houston Texans. Thank
True.
you, DeAndre Hopkins.
Hopkins.
Yeah,
Gorgeous.
thank you.
Thank you.
Colts.
So I can't really follow with the same enthusiasm that Brandon had about Lamar Miller there. But I'll try. Andrew Luck is in his final year of his rookie contract, guys.
Yeah.
And Jim Irsay expects extension talk to begin in the coming months. Nice.
All right.
But Frank Gore is expected to return, guys. He is expected to be their primary back in 2016 still. They did pick up Robert Turbin and Jordan Todman to back him up. But Gore is allegedly still the dude. So we will see. I do think last year was really rough to judge him on because we had the whole Luck going at her. We had the Hasselbeck situation. It was tough. But I think this is going to be a better year for Frank Gore. I certainly would not waste a draft pick. Go for Lamar Miller. Go for him instead. But I don't hate him as like a third, fourth string backup for you. That's okay.
What? Jamal Charles? Hello, Lamar Miller.
Obviously Jamal Charles.
Well, you compared him to Arian Foster.
Yeah. Well,
He's the new Arian Foster.
He is not the new Arian Foster. Just because
Yes.
he's on the same team does not make him the new Arian Foster.
Stop yourself.
Arian
He's actually
Foster in
gonna
his
stay healthy.
prime.
was
Lamar
magic.
Miller doesn't always stay healthy.
He's going to stay healthier than Arian Foster.
That's true. It's pretty hard to not stay healthier than Arian Foster.
That's true. He does, yeah.
When I have the
You're
flu,
Jeremy
sometimes I'm
Bennett.
healthier than Arian Foster. God love him. I love him. I will always draft Arian Foster. I will live and die by that guy. I'm just saying. Let's be
Because
real.
he's worth every game he's actually healthy for.
I know. When he plays, it's magic.
It is magic.
It is. It's like Disney when like the fireworks go off above the
Behind
castle.
the castle? Yeah.
Mhm.
It's like how it is when he's on the field.
It's
Mhm.
true. It's true.
It's constant.
Twice a year.
Well, we're hoping we're going to see some fireworks out of Philip Dorsett this year, who is expected
stop.
to replace Andre Johnson, net receiver. Didn't even play that much, but
Dorsett has potential.
He
I
has
don't know
that
why you don't like
potential.
him. He's a sleeper.
and Andre Johnson was released by the Colts, which makes me very sad, but it's true. I think Dorsett's got some options. Again, people were really high on him last year. Not sure it was worth all the hype for where you probably drafted him.
No.
With the rookie hype, not rookie hype, but you know what I mean. So, but something to definitely keep an eye out for, because we got a healthy Luck again. We didn't have a healthy Luck last year, so it was a little bit of an unfair kind of look at him, I would say. Hasselbeck, guys, was told by the Colts that he is not in their plans for next season, and therefore he announced his retirement. He has joined ESPN as an NFL analyst, and I am pumped to have the Hasselbeck brothers.
Awesome.
I love it.
Love
Yeah, and then they signed free agent Dwayne Allen. This was a little surprising. There was a lot of talk thinking that they were going to sign Colby Fleener, and then they signed Dwayne Allen, who was really used in only a blocking packages last year. He really was not
but they
an
need
offensive
blocking.
threat, but they do need blocking, so they decided to just have him block some more. So he has done that, and Colby Fleener is now with the Saints. So it's going to be a different look because we've been really used to that sort of two tight end set. Granted, one was more an offensive minded, one was in that blocking package, but it's going to be a little bit of a shift.
Bummer. Jacksonville Jaguars, Ashley. I like Fleener. Did Fleener get picked up?
By Saints.
Saints.
So it's
Oh, the
interesting.
Saints. You just said that. Sorry.
Yeah. So Mercedes Lewis signed a 3-year deal with the Jags after, there's a pursuit with the Los Angeles Rams. We were talking before the show how it's really hard for us to say Los Angeles Rams versus St. Louis Rams. It's just tough. It doesn't roll off the tongue, but we'll get used to it. So he's back with the team. I'm very mad that we did not keep Malik Jackson because he was my top priority in the offseason, and we dropped the ball, Broncos. I will say that. But the Jacksonville Jaguars did not. They scooped him right up. He's got a new contract with them.
They love those old Broncos.
They sure do. They're going to feel really good about it. He's a great fit there. They signed Chris Ivory to a new contract, a 5-year deal. So that's really interesting because you got T.J. Yeldon in the mix, and so they're going to be battling out for the starting role. And I think that could be one that could be a really nasty committee situation that we're looking at here. I think they're going to go back.
That's why I love Lamar Miller.
Well, it's true because I don't think you can really depend on either of these guys. I think they're going to be doing a lot of back and forth as terms of who's actually going to be starting. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Toby Gerhart was released. Again, this is of no news to you, but I just love. So Alan Hearns could also have some contract extension talk, which I'm excited for. But more than that, he said that him and Allen Robinson are the best wide receiver tandem in the NFL and are just going to improve. And I like that moxie. I like that confidence. I'm feeling good. We still love our
Allen brothers.
Allen brother receivers.
Allen brothers.
You go for it.
I agree with them. I mean, I don't really agree with them, but I think it's fun.
I love it. Why not? Why not?
Why not? They're close.
They're real close, yeah.
They're definitely in the top 5.
Oh my God, they're top 3.
Top three tandem for sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
As of last year's stats, for last year's stats.
Now that Eric Decker and Demaryius Thomas.
Because you think about it, the top 3 wide receivers, they don't have a second person with them.
It's true.
And you can't add the Denver Broncos because Demaryius Thomas didn't catch any balls.
Yeah, he's practically not even a Bronco.
He's practically not a Bronco. And you can't do the Green Bay Packers because J.J. Nelson didn't play.
Jordy
Nelson didn't play. So, I mean, there's,
No, I think you're right. I think there's a legitimate argument there.
Very legit argument. And I'd get my hands on either of the Allen brothers.
And in my fantasy drafts.
Mm-hmm.
Fantasy drafts. Tennessee Titans. Well, DeMarco Murray finds himself a new home.
I kind of like that.
Titans, and I love it. I love it. I was not a Murray fan last year. I told you not to draft him, and I was right. I didn't know it was going to be Chip Kelly's fault, but I knew it wasn't going to be right, and it wasn't. I think this year it's going to be right.
It's so wrong. It's right.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that's why I like it. That I'm just like, well, what else are the Titans gonna do? Run.
I think it's
low
perfect.
expectations, and he'll exceed it.
Well, I think this is.
Yeah.
I think this is only going to help Delaney Walker too.
Oh,
Now they're going to be covering Murray in the red zone, and Delaney Walker is going to be open even more. I mean, for how many touchdowns he got from being the only person on the damn offense, it's pretty impressive.
So we're only using damn because we don't have a parental advisory anymore, but you know what we mean by Titans offense.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Richard Matthews is the new Titans wide receiver, and I like that too. I'm into it. I love what the Titans are doing. They're building an offense around their star quarterback, and I can't do it. And not only that, but they're backing him up too, guys. Matt Castle finds his 5th NFL home, signing a 2-year contract to back up Marcus Mariota and Zach Mettenberger. It doesn't matter. I just love that Matt Castle found another home again.
Just making money.
Just making that money. Each signing, making a little bit, just a little bit. It's the engine that kept going, man. I'm into it. And bad news out of Tennessee is that they re-signed Antonio Andrews. I
am bummed as to how he's going to be used with the DeMarcus Murray signing. That basically means you don't draft Antonio Andrews.
I would not draft him at all. The coaches want to run DeMarco Murray into the ground again this year. I think they're going to lay up on him a little bit.
But not enough to make Andrew relevant.
But not enough to make Andrew relevant. Andrew wasn't relevant when he tried to be number 1 either. So I think we can just say goodbye to Andrews. I don't think it's like a smart handcuff. Because I think if Murray drops, I think then the offense plan switches. It's not going to be a.
You certainly won't get this. Yeah,
Antonio Andrews in, and it's the same. It's the same game. It's not.
It's not like the Kansas City plug and play.
No.
Opposite
absolutely.
of that.
The Bills. I mean, you could have played 6 different running backs for that team last year, and you would have won each week in fantasy. So that's my news for the Tennessee Titans. Baltimore Ravens.
There's very little to report other than the signing. Well, I shouldn't say that. The signing of Mike Wallace means something. And I know that he had a bad year with Minnesota, only 39 catches, 473 yards, and 2 touchdowns. But here's the deal. Rashard Perryman is still not playing, you guys. Coach Harbaugh said that he still isn't running, quote-unquote, fully. What?
He's got some time. Concerning, but he's got some time.
It's been over a year.
Yeah.
This is real. I'm concerned. I'm very concerned. I think Kamar Aiken is a good to go. Steve Smith's coming back. SSS, Steve Smith Sr.
It's the best news there is.
Triple S sauce. Triple S. I'm so excited he came out of retirement.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, me too. He can't go out like that. And then they signed Mike Wallace. I think this is security. I'm a little concerned. The other thing they did is they signed tight end Ben Watson, who caught 74 passes for 825 yards and 6 touchdowns last year in New Orleans.
I'm actually into this pickup.
I don't know how I feel about it because they have Crockett Gilmore and Max Williams, the guy that is only going into his second year. And then Dennis Pitta wants to restructure his contract.
Get rid of Pitta. I can't even with Pitta. You want to
Does
talk
he
about
even
somebody
have real
that's
hips
why
anymore?
are they in
Is
the
he, like,
NFL
fake
anymore?
Joints
It's upsetting.
everywhere.
No, it's all upsetting. I get it, but I'm telling you, that's what I'm saying. This is weird. Watch OTAs, people.
Dennis Pitta literally sends me into a similar rage as Colin Kaepernick.
Oh, come on. Dennis Pitta got hurt. That's totally different.
No tight end should send me into that kind of rage. And he's done nothing wrong other than just be constantly injured. Like, I don't. Why would anyone pick him up? Why is he still playing in the NFL? These are questions that clearly no one can answer for me.
He loves the game and he makes a ton of money.
I don't care. Retire.
Okay, anyway, they're going to focus on utility players in the trenches in the draft, hopefully. So that's how I feel about that.
Cincinnati Bengals.
Well, if we're to continue the rage, which we should, Brandon LaFell, he agreed to a deal with the Bengals. I hate this. I hate it so much.
I just can't get over it. Who would you rather have?
McGee.
Brandon LaFell or Mohamed Sanu?
Brandon LaFell or Marvin Jones? Oh, Brandon LaFell. Yeah, that makes sense. Mr. I can only catch 20% of the balls thrown my way.
Amazing. By Tom Brady. Give me a break.
Unbelievable. But they did exercise an option on Tyler Eifert, so he'll remain a Bengal, so that's some good news. Now, Andy Dalton, his thumb has been throwing the ball, because remember he had his little thumb injury. He has had no restrictions with his throwing, which has been great. But what's interesting is he says Dalton isn't worried about the loss of Marvin Jones and Mohamed Sanu in free agency. You should be.
Yeah.
You should definitely be concerned. I don't know why you're not concerned about it. Have you not been watching tape of Brandon LaFell?
I thought A.J. McCarron was the next Tom Brady.
Well, A.J. McCarron will not be traded this offseason, according to head coach Marvin Lewis. And why would they? Why would you trade away a potentially starter quarterback, not Tom Brady starting quarterback, to uproot Andy Dalton, obviously? But it makes no sense. This whole team is a nightmare. And then we get into my very favorite player, Jeremy Hill, who also sends me into a very, very dark place.
Mr. falls into the end zone. All of a sudden he's a fantasy guy, and you're like, stop it.
So I guess he met with the coaching staff at the end of the season last year. Well, they were still playing, but towards the near end. And they basically were yelling at him to say, stop effing around, trying to make all these turns. Just run north and south, buddy. And he had a pretty disappointing season in 2015. I mean, it wasn't horrible, but it's what you expect from him. But he's still back in the mix. And they signed a new deal with Pac-Man Jones. So the Cincinnati Bengals continue to be a very frustrating team.
Yep. But not as frustrating as the Browns, and that's who's next.
That's right.
This is the team I do not want. The 49ers do not want them.
I refuse to ever speak of Johnny Manziel, Mr. I hit a woman so hard she has hearing problems now, and I stunk anyway, so who the hell cares? Anyway, long name, but you get it. I'm done with this guy. And so are the Browns. Bye. He should literally not play in the 2016 season.
I hope not.
I'm sorry, you beat women, you get in accidents, you are a liar, you are and
he just got good. And the hit and run he just had?
I'm done. That's all I'm saying. And you know what? I actually tweeted out earlier, I said, if I never hear another story about Johnny Manziel, it'll be too soon. Literally never want to hear about him again. Goodbye. You know who else is bye-bye? Josh Gordon.
Oh,
and that's sad.
What a waste. What a waste.
Guy failed a drug test because he had marijuana in it, and he diluted it. He didn't even get it all out. And if you get a diluted chest, it's considered a positive anyway, so who cares? It's
How hard is it to not smoke weed?
it's a waste. It's sad. It is what it is. And you know what? Fine. This is what it is. But wow,
Yeah,
I'm
it's really
worried.
sad. It's really sad.
So the
Or
Browns
make weed legal in the NFL, and then we won't have these problems. And then we can draft Josh Gordon and kick people's asses in
but
fantasy football.
weed isn't legal in Cleveland.
It's not. Yeah, it's not
I
legal
know, that's
there.
what I'm saying.
It's not legal federally.
Make it legal.
But even
Yeah.
in Colorado, where it's legal here, it's still illegal for me to smoke weed at my job. Just because
Yeah.
it's legal doesn't mean the NFL is going to say it's okay. Now, granted, there
If
is the
the NFL
argument
makes
that there's
it legal-
certain healing properties to marijuana that has helped, and I can understand that argument, and I think they should look into that argument. But the matter of the fact is, it is still illegal. He knows it's illegal right now, and he can't stop himself. He's throwing away
No.
talent and millions of dollars because he's just completely unable to help himself.
I can't continue hoping that people turn it around. I read his article on Medium when he talked about how he was, going to be fine, and I mean, again, it's gone. The Browns decided to also take on RG3 because they did not have enough problems.
Yeah.
So they made sure to really go all in this year. And they also got my guy, Terrell Pryor,
That's right.
to fill in for that.
The first and last
Wide
time we'll say
receiver
his
position.
name again.
Oh my gosh. I can't.
I actually kind of
It's
want
so
this
bad.
team. They're such a train wreck. I want.
Oh,
them.
it's so bad.
I know you do, because you love RG3, you sicko.
I don't love RG3. I love the circus nightmare that comes along with RG3.
Okay. They also lost Pro Bowler Alex Mack, their center,
It's a big one.
and Travis Benjamin, among others. It's just a hot mess. And then Hugh Jackson decided to be the head coach. How could you take this job? I would say it's a silver lining, but they fire people after 1 year. So, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't even know. And as far as what they're going to do in the draft, who knows? They could draft literally anyone in the first round, and it is an upgrade at whatever position that it's at. Like, literally, who knows? It's a wild card, complete wild card.
Totally agree.
Steelers. Well, the Steelers, were able to retain a lot of their players that were free agents this offseason, so that's great. Sad news is that my man Heath Miller retires after 11 years in the NFL. I feel like a lot of people are retiring this year. I
They
don't know
are.
why, but I feel like it's a lot. Yeah, I mean, it's a lot.
Yeah, I agree.
And I'm going to miss telling people when to play you and not to play you. I have to say he was one of the most consistent tight ends. When certain people were on the field, you knew you could play Heath Miller. And when certain people were not, were back on the field, you knew he was no longer relevant. And I appreciated that. And now it's gone. They picked up Ladarius Green from San Diego Chargers. I think that's good. I like Ladarius Green a lot. I think actually he's going to be very beneficial to the Steelers' offense. So I'm into it. I'm not upset about it at all. It's going to be another good year for fantasy in Pittsburgh. Chicago
Except for
Bears.
Martavis Bryant getting suspended.
Well, Martavis Bryant's always your flashy, wild card, but
I'm afraid he's going Josh Gordon.
it's sad.
Just it's like millions of dollars.
Well,
I'm negative Nancy tonight again. Just literally rolling things up, setting them on fire like your money.
like your money.
All right.
Chicago Bears.
There you go. All right. They franchised Alshon Jeffrey. He only played 9 games last season, but all 16 the 2 years prior. He might be a fire sale this year. And considering so many people are going to go wide receiver, he might be a wide receiver that you can get at a decent place in the first or second round. So just putting that out there. Fingers crossed. They let Matt Forte go, which is sad. But now it's the Jeremy Langford's show going on here, except for I think Kadeem Carey might give him a little run for his money. So I would say watch all of the preseason. This is why you watch preseason, you guys. And also, if Jeremy Langford gets hurt, Carey's the guy.
Yeah.
Now, supposedly Kevin White is 100% healthy, the opposite of Brashard Perryman, the other wide receiver that was supposed to be great from last year's rookie class. That's according to their GM, Ryan Pace. Full speed ahead for the OTAs. And I know that Ashley loves when we say that they should be okay months in advance, but that is what we know. And we'd love upgrades in the offense in the draft, but we know that their problem is the defense. It's absolutely their defense. So do not look for big, flashy things to happen for the offense for the Bears.
Aw, sad. I like Lingford though.
I do too.
I hope
I do
people
too.
don't have to pay too much for him.
I think he is another Lamar Miller type.
I didn't know that anybody could be on the same level as
I
Lamar
know.
Miller,
Are you
but
sure you
Well,
want
I'm
to
I know,
intrigued.
I know.
I'm
I'm just saying
intrigued.
there's so many solo backs that I kind of freak out about them.
That's
I
true.
do too. I do too. Yeah, I do. It's good. It's a good thing. Detroit Lions.
So, guys, Calvin Johnson filed his retirement papers.
I'm so sad.
I
And
can't
I
believe he
am-
actually followed through.
Brokenhearted about it. But you know what? Good for him. Good for him.
Not the way he wanted to.
Yeah, I'm okay with
But
it.
I just felt like he had so much more to give.
He did. He did.
He did, but I feel like he knew when his body was he was done. You know, his body was done. You want to put
You know what
that
I feel it was?
time
I feel
in.
like the Lions, like he outgrew the Lions. You know,
Yeah, they were never going to let him go.
and they were never gonna let him go. And I think he wanted to retire a Lion. I just don't think that like he felt the passion for the Lions anymore. At least I just want to blame the Lions because I can't imagine that Calvin
Can't
would
blame Calvin.
No.
Yeah, he's not gonna do it, so we can.
Yeah.
but
We'll make up any story you want, Calvin. It's not your fault.
yeah, so he's gone. But insert Marvin Jones, which I think is a fantastic pickup. Brandon is making a face. She doesn't like it.
Well, hey, I'm here to listen.
You don't like
Wow,
Marvin
you
Jones?
compared Lamar Miller to Arian Foster and Marvin Jones to Calvin Johnson. This is a great show,
I'm
guys.
not saying Marvin Jones is Calvin Johnson caliber, but of the free agents out there for a wide receiver, I'm into Marvin Jones.
You can't replace Calvin Johnson.
Can't replace, and I don't think they're
Yeah.
trying to replace Calvin Johnson, but I think Marvin Jones is a really great addition to this team, given the fact that he's not playing anymore, right? So
Yeah.
I like it. They got wide receiver Jeremy Curley. That's
Ugh.
nothing to be excited about. Luckily, that's only a one-year deal. Tight end Tim Wright, he re-signed. So we've got some interesting moves. Amir Abdullah, they feel really confident that he's going to pick up his game this year and that he's got nothing to do but improve. But what's interesting is that they also then signed Stephen Ridley to a one-year deal. So they got rid of Joique Bell, and you're thinking, okay, it's Amir Abdullah's, but then they signed Stephen Ridley. So we're back in this weird kind of semi-committee. I don't think it's going to be a full committee situation, but it muddies the waters. Do you know what I mean? It's murky.
Yeah.
Either way, I'm actually kind of okay with both of them, to be honest with you, because I do think they have two very different style backs. So it's going to be an interesting situation. I'm excited to see how preseason plays out to kind of get an idea of the share they're going to be having. But it's, just when you thought you may not have a potential committee situation, you are wrong.
You're wrong.
It's always been a committee in Detroit.
Yeah.
Always.
Ugh. All
Just
right.
makes me sad.
Green Bay Packers. So they surprised everyone this year because normally they don't sign anyone in free agency. They are famous for it. But they late decided to sign tight end Jared Cook.
I love it.
Yeah,
I
well,
love it.
I guess so. I'm kind of a Richard Rodgers girl, but I'm okay with it. I think Jared Cook is just Mr., 3 really good games. You just have to pick the right games. I'm into it.
He's been on bad teams. Imagine him being on a good team.
Fine. I don't need a tight end for Green Bay Packers.
Yeah,
Thank
I mean,
you.
I think that the Michael Finley days are long gone. But maybe.
I'm into it.
I think Mike McCarthy has a weird thing against tight ends. Anyway, clearly they need an upgrade at tackle. Don't hold your breath on them investing on another tight end or anything. I mean, people are talking about, they're gonna get one in the draft too. I don't know.
Why do they need that many tight ends? They don't even use them.
They don't need that many tight ends.
I agree.
Yeah, right.
As far as I'm concerned, they should maybe look at a late round wide receiver because that Adams guy. Oof.
That Adams guy. That Daniel Owens dude.
Ultimate disrespect.
I love it. Minnesota Vikings. You know what? The Vikings this offseason have been focusing on what every team should be focusing on, and that's their offensive line. So I'm very proud of my Vikings. I love them. Thank you for getting a guard and offensive tackle. I appreciate you. This is only good things for old man AP. Jerick McKinnon, and they just re-signed Matt Asiata as well. So I'm excited. And this is a committee I'm not upset about because you know what you're going to get. Jerick McKinnon is the perfect handcuff, in my opinion. So, yeah, I'm happy with the Vikings. Thank you. Panthers.
And you know what? The Panthers are happy with what they have too, because last year was actually their big kind of off season where they re-signed Greg Olsen, Cam Newton, Thomas Davis, and Luke Kuechly. That was the huge thing. This year they franchise tagged Josh Norman, but he hasn't signed yet. It looks like he may not actually be part of, kind of the OTAs and going into the season. I think there's going to be some dispute there. But listen, they had a great team. They almost won the Super Bowl. Well, they got to the Super Bowl, and that's what we'll leave that, I guess. They're gonna
almost got to the Super Bowl. I mean, they did show up.
They were there.
My father sent us a picture of Cam Newton playing water polo with Von Miller sacking the ball out of his hand.
Ripping the ball out of his hands, yeah.
That's awesome, yeah. But I'm into him playing water polo in his off season. Why not? Great workout.
That's right.
You
helps
do
your joints.
Cam.
Less injuries than water. Sure.
Yeah, but you guys, they're not going to sign a wide receiver because they don't care about wide receivers.
No.
No. Kelvin Benjamin, he's coming back, you guys. What's going to happen?
He'll be back. You got Funchess.
I'm excited about Benjamin. I think Benjamin's going to be good.
I think he might be a little sleeper because people forgot about him last year.
I think so too, and I think that the offense has really grown without him. So I think they're going to be a really good support team with him in there.
I think Cam Newton's got better at passing. He really has, believe it or not.
Yeah, I think
Serious
it's good.
Potential there.
I like it. Atlanta Falcons. The Falcons released Roddy White after 10 years with them. So that's, again, sad. I'm like, all of my teams, somebody's retiring. Roddy White's basically retired. But they did pick up Mohamed Sanu, so he is a new Falcon. He will be the guy next to Julio. And Matt Schaub returns to his former team, and he will be back up from Matt Ryan. Schaub. Can't get rid of him. I got the Schaub and the Castle. Just love it. And the Falcons need a lot of help on the offensive line, so they should be busy this draft. So it is what it is. Ashley. The Saints.
The Saints, yes. So Sean Payton announced that they got a 5-year deal. I hated the whole offseason as if Drew Brees and Sean Payton were actually going to go anywhere. I'm like, this is not even a story.
Ridiculous.
It's not going to happen. Why are we even talking about it? So surprise, surprise, Sean Payton staying, and so is Drew Brees, guys. So what's interesting is that he's due about $30 million against the salary cap in 2016. Now, because he's already received franchise tags 2 other times, it would cost the Saints $43.2 million if they were to tag him in 2017. So they've got to work something out. It's going to cost them a lot of money. Now, Brees is confident they're going to reach a contract extension, so nothing to really be too worried about there. The tight end position is interesting. Again, like Brandon mentioned, Ben Watson was signed with the Ravens, but they brought Kobe Fleener in, so I'm into this. But they also have Josh Hill still as their tight end. So it's going to be interesting to see kind of who's going to be the top tight end. I feel like it will be Kobe Fleener out of the 2 of them. Because Josh Hill really didn't do all that much last year. So I think they went after Fleener, and I think they're going to roll with him. Mark Ingram, he adjusted his salary a bit to free up some cap space, which is great. Tim Hightower, he signed another deal. So we've got a really interesting situation there. Marquise Colston, we talked about, he was cut with a failed physical, which is kind of sad. Another oldie and a goodie that's gone. Gonesies.
Aww.
Yeah, and
we
then
can
Josh,
make a retired page. We're not on Instagram. I mean, we might have even shut down our account. I mean, we don't even use that. But we really need to come up with an Instagram page for all of these oldies that are retiring or not being picked up off of free agency, because there's a lot of them this year, and it's sad.
He's such a staple of the Saints too.
And maybe it's because it's the perfect age for us, because it's when we were 20, 22, they were coming into the NFL, and we grew with them within the NFL, as adults.
Because they're all about our age right now. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's kind of when you started playing, fantasy football too. So you're getting more familiar with other people's teams, and now they're all getting plucked off.
It's sad. Makes me sad, but
Buccaneers.
Yeah. Bucks.
Mike Evans only caught 50% of his passes last year. Literally, 148 targets, 74 catches. That is not
Dead on 50%.
dead on 50%. It is not an
Love it.
exaggeration. It is what literally happened, and I just wanted to say that out loud. This is not a strong class for wide receivers. They do have Vincent Jackson. He's coming back, but he's 33 years old and only played in 10 games last year, so it's something to think about. But the re-signing of Doug Martin was the big story for the Buccaneers this year. I'm happy for him. I actually think it was a great signing. Okay, the guy went back up to 1,402 yards, second most in the league for rushing, and that was only 52 yards less than his miraculous rookie outings. So
Yeah.
I actually think this is a great thing. I think it also anchors the team. And they have this, second-year quarterback. They're trying to get Mike Evans to catch more than 50% of his passes, which he said, yeah, I guess I had a sophomore slump. I'm like, I guess?
I guess. Yeah. It's not a guess situation.
But by the way, he's never gone over like 52% in catches in the NFL. I think this rookie year, it was 52%. It's insane.
He's okay with that number, too.
Yeah, he doesn't care. Well, but he
Yeah.
gets, when you're getting 148 targets and you only catch half, you still get over 1,000 yards. So you
Yeah.
still have to draft him, but you will be incensed. Don't watch on Sundays. But again, I actually think that Doug Martin was a great signing, and I know that that's a little controversial. Some people thought he got too much money, but with $35.75 million, it's a lot. But you know what? Money is money, and if you want someone, you got to do it. I would say that in the draft, I think that this is going to be a defensive team. Their defense really let them down this last year.
Are you taking Lamar Miller, or are you taking Doug Martin?
It's tough. I'll wait till OTAs.
Oh, okay. All right, then.
Yeah, and speaking of
How the
we
great
got
have fallen to the Buccaneers.
Doug
Dallas
Martin's
Cowboys.
smaller. Dallas Cowboys. The big news is that the Cowboys signed Alfred Morris.
Woo!
All right, I
I'm
know that sounds
intrigued.
like non-news. But I think he's the bounce-back candidate of the year.
I agree. I'm intrigued by this pickup.
I think what's most important is that I am told that the guy cannot catch a ball. He caught 10 of his only 13 targets last year, which, by the way, is 77%.
More than Evans.
27%
27%.
more than Mike Evans. I just want to put that out there for the guy who can't catch any balls. I'm
Yep.
telling you, they just didn't use him like that. In Washington, they just did not give him a sufficient amount of targets. So I'm not anti-him because of that. And McFadden did play in all 16 games last year. It was really fantastic. Went for over 1,000 yards. But that was the first time he did it since 2010. And in 2010, the number one song was Tick Tock by Kesha. And actually,
Oh.
Katy Perry's California Girls with Snoop Dogg was only number 4. I would have thought that would be number 1. But anyway, it's been that long, people. California Girls. You know how long it's been on your iPhone. You do. So I digress. Listen, it's the Dallas Cowboys. I think this is the year Jerry finally gets a QB. I think that the metal
win?
plate and the collarbone for Tony Romo, that just has to be a day you have to cave.
I think it's a good year to do
You
it.
think it's this year? You do?
Because I think they think Tony Romo's going to play a year, and all these guys need a year underneath a starter, I think. I
These
think
guys
that's
need
what he's
more
thinking.
than a year.
You
But
think only more than a year?
yeah,
they
these
first round.
guys. No, these guys are not. I do not think that these guys are strong quarterbacks at all.
But I think he'll still draft a quarterback because he didn't.
It's
didn't
too
get
bad
Johnny.
he didn't draft one last year, but you know what? He didn't. Now he's gonna have to wait, and he's gonna have to do some cruddy trades like John Elway's doing this year, and suck it up while you rebuild your offense. But I don't think this class is the class that's gonna find a Dallas Cowboys franchise quarterback. But maybe. I am not confident, but well, we'll see.
We'll see.
The Giants are replacing Eli Manning with, oh, just kidding. He's still there. He's still there. He's not going anywhere. Sad Tom Coughlin is gone for 11 years. I'm still sad. Ben McAdoo, McAdoo, the former Giants offensive coach, he is going to be taking over, or has taken over, I guess. But the Giants have just been really busy on the defense, which again I'm not angry about. You know, everybody's trying to do what the Broncos did last year, and I get it. Offense doesn't matter, but it does in fantasy. So can we please get off of that train? Get off that train, because I know if anybody owned the Denver Broncos last year were like, I hate the Denver Broncos, and I can't blame you. They screwed
It's true.
you in
It's true.
every single possible way. They screwed you. So let's not just focus on the defense, guys. It's about us too. And Bobby Rainey joins the Giants with the other $500 million running backs. So it's gonna be exciting.
Committee.
Committee. This
No
is
one
the
you should touch.
guys. They didn't get rid of anybody. It's everybody still on the team. They're just picking up more running backs. Just don't do it. Do not. No. The Eagles. They gave up a lot. I mean, they've been making a lot of moves right away, I should say. They were very on the ball here. After they got rid of Chip Kelly, they were like, let's move this stuff. They traded running back DeMarco Murray, obviously, 2016 fourth-round draft pick to Tennessee, and another fourth-round draft pick. They signed a contract with quarterback Chase Daniels. They agreed to terms with cornerback Ron Brooks. Nothing no big namers per se that are going to affect your fantasy. I'm not loving this team either way. They signed wide receiver Ruben Randall and Chris Gibbons.
That's huge.
I guess. I don't know. This offense freaks me out. I'm still Chip Kelly'd all over me, Like I still smell his vomit. So I just can't jump back on this team right away,
Jump on it.
Can't jump on it yet. I just was not impressed by anybody, and I don't know if it was now I'm like, was it all Chip Kelly? Can I really be excited about the Eagles this year, or is this the Eagles too? I don't know. They signed Zach Ertz to a 5-year deal for over $20 million guaranteed, so he might be a good catch this year. I might be into it. Eagles, I have to watch. I'm hoping that I do not have any early drafts for fantasy, and I can really watch the Eagles before I decide on any of them. Making no early predictions for them. Washington Redskins.
Oh, my babies. My babies.
Kirk Cousins.
Kirk Cousins. I feel like he's trying to win the Good Guy Award of the year. He plans to fully practice and participate in all aspects of any OTAs, preseason work, anything, with or without a long-term contract, allegedly. Now, what's interesting, though, is that Kirk Cousins, he wants something like the $19 million range, with $40 million guaranteed, and turns out Washington does not view him as that kind of starter yet. So this could get really interesting because he did really well for them. They got rid of, obviously, RG3, as we discussed, so he's gone. They did re-sign Colt McCoy, who will be backing up Cousins, but it's going to be interesting to see if they do try to work out a long-term deal for him. The good news is Jordan Reed could receive contract extension talk later in the summer as well, and he actually played really well this year, or I should say last year. He was really good, as long as he's able to stay healthy, and I feel like last year, oddly, has given me some positivity about Jordan Reed, because I have, for the most part, been really Debbie Downer the entire time he's been in the NFL.
It helps when Kirk Cousins is throwing him the ball.
But he was able to stay healthy
baller
last
when
year.
he's healthy, yeah.
He's healthy. He's so good.
Arian Foster at the tight end position.
And the fact that he was able to, play
But
large
I'm just
14
saying-
games last year, which is
I'm saying when RG3 is your
outrageous.
quarterback and you're a tight end, you're put into situations that are not smart, because you're just running around and you're just looking for somebody to throw to, and that person's always your tight end. So where do you throw it to him? In the center of the field when he has oncoming traffic, they're constantly hitting him. Not safe plays, that is what was happening to him constantly. And that's why it's a good thing.
Yeah, I
with
mean, I
somebody
definitely
else
feel
throwing
better
the ball.
about him. I feel really confident he was able to play 14 games last year. That really ups my confidence, because even if he does get hurt a little bit, for the most part, he's at least shown the production in those games to be worthy of a pickup. Now, I still think if you were to draft Jordan Reed, you need to also draft another strong tight end backup, because there is a good chance you're still not going to be able to roll with him all season long. But I feel much better about him than I usually do. Now, Matt Jones is allegedly the team's every down back, with Alfred Morris leaving the team. I just don't know how I feel about this one. Courtney always seemed to like
Yeah.
Matt Jones last year.
No. No, don't
Yeah,
say
you
that.
did.
I did not.
Yeah, you did.
Did not. I'll take Rod Streeter, but you're not putting Matt Jones on me.
Well, someone's gonna have to put something on him. He's their starting guy, but they did also sign Chris Thompson. So
Of course they did.
No,
Wouldn't you if you had Matt Jones?
I would absolutely, but Chris Thompson's also recovering from shoulder surgery, so it's just an interesting running back situation. I don't like it at all. I just don't like the running schemes that they run there. It's odd because it's not really a wide receiver focused offense, but it's also not a running offense. I'm not sure exactly what the Washington offense is
Tight end.
when he's healthy.
Well, that
It's
was last
I just
season.
I don't love anybody on this team right now. I'm sorry, I don't. It's just it is what it is. But then Vernon Davis also joined. So that was an interesting signing to back up Jordan Reed, but they've got kind of different styles. I'm gonna be intrigued to see how that one plays out.
Different styles.
Different styles.
Love it.
That's how I'm gonna nicely put that.
Well, the Cardinals are pretty easy. Drew Stanton signed a 2-year deal to be the backup to Carson Palmer. Chris Johnson signed a 1-year deal. Jermon Gresham signed a 1-year deal. And the game is all back, you guys. They're all back to play. One game away from the Super Bowl, says Bruce. We're going to go, guys, this year. We're going to go. We don't need to switch anything up. We don't need to add anything to my team. We are going to do it. Do it.
Lamar Miller.
That has to be the best trio wide receivers in the
fantastic.
NFL.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, all three together. It's a miracle. Miracle of miracles.
I think
Los
Michael Floyd might be
Angeles.
the steal next year.
Ooh.
I don't know
Well,
what
people
that
are
move was,
always
but-
so hyped about John Brown that
Forget
Yeah.
about
yeah, I mean it's weird. I think Floyd I don't know, is better in my opinion. He doesn't have that raw talent that John Brown has, but it's good. It's good. I'm into it. Ramses.
So as we discussed, they're now the Los Angeles Rams. That's going to take a while to get used to. And Jared Cook is no longer a Ram, so he's off with the Packers, as we said. Now, Case Keenum is allegedly the team's starting quarterback. Going into training camp, he is the guy, according to Jeff Fisher. So we can expect that. Now, with that said, Nick Foles is also still on the team, but then it said he could be released before the start of training camp and that he will more than likely definitely be released before regular season. But they're going to have to pay money on him even if they release
I was gonna
him.
say, what's the deal with that?
Oh, yeah, they're going to have to pay I want to say it's like $11-some million. So they might just keep him around. I don't know.
Maybe the Broncos can give him the same deal that we gave Kaepernick.
I mean, Case Keenum is not exactly. I don't have a vote of confidence in that situation. Not that I really want Nick Foles coming in to save the day. So we still have the Rams being completely useless to you on most fronts.
Defunct.
Yeah. So Trey Mason isn't going to help his case as he was arrested on Saturday of March 5th for suspicion of possession of marijuana, reckless driving, failure to register his vehicle, resisting arrest.
And hanging out with Josh Gordon and Johnny Manziel.
So sadly, that was not the case, but you would think so. You would think so. They did sign Benny Cunningham, though, so he's going to stay on the team. So we have that situation. Brian Quigg also agreed to a deal. So again,
Will he be on the team, though? Remember when he just wasn't playing?
He's technically on the team.
He was on the active roster.
Yeah.
But he was still technically
what
on
happened
the
to
team.
Nick?
But then he was like the next
Drafted.
week. The moral of the story, guys, is you're not going near the Los Angeles Rams. It's a train wreck. We're not doing it. We're not doing it.
Nope. San Francisco 49ers. There's nothing to report here, really. I mean, they re-signed Sean Drone.
Great.
I mean, listen, they're probably going to lose Kaepernick, and that wouldn't be the worst thing. If they had any other options,
It
it's
would be the
just
worst thing if he came to the Broncos.
Well, okay. Well, I think you need to start getting comfy, honey. Chip Kelly's a
I knew
genius, so we don't need to
Kaepernick,
worry. I mean, that's really what it is.
It is.
That's true.
Yeah.
You're in good hands.
You might be able to draft the running backs, but that's about it. Carlos Hyde, fingers crossed. Supposedly he's dropping weight. I don't know. I'm not quite sure anything can save this disaster. I'd say they need wide receivers because right now their starters are Torrey Smith, Quentin Patton, and Bruce Ellington. But who's going to throw them the ball? And they have so many needs. Who knows?
They have Gabbard still?
I mean, kind of.
Yep.
I can't. You guys, we can't. We can't go into the Gabbard train.
Ooh, it's the 49ers. Let them rot for a couple more years.
I think
They'll come back. They'll come back.
Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen.
They need to fall a little bit further to get some better
They
players.
need to fire Chip Kelly. And
Chip Kelly
then...
says he's impressed with Blaine Gabbert.
Great. Of course he is.
But he also,
Sam Bradford.
well, yeah.
Yeah,
And Riley
Sam
Cooper.
Bradford us.
tough to say.
And DeMarco Murray. He ruined him.
Again, well, he ruined DeMarco Murray. DeMarco Murray was
He
nothing.
ruined Jordan Matthews.
Yeah, Jordan Matthews. Wow, blast from the past in my brain.
Did you forget he played for the NFL? Because he barely did last year.
But then when he was good, he was really good.
He was really good. Yeah, it's so sad. So sad. Chip Kelly. Woo!
All right.
Seahawks.
Seahawks. Jimmy Graham. He is progressing as expected and doing quite well in his rehab and recovery from his
Tough
torn
surgery.
right patella tendon. They think it's too soon to tell if he'll be able to return from the injury, but we haven't exactly seen the best track record of people who tear their patella tendon.
I think it's really sad. I think it's like...
It's
I'm
really
not
sad because
drafting
he's such a talent. I don't feel confident. I need to see a lot more than just hearing updates that the recovery is going well. I definitely need to actually see him out there because I feel like it's an Achilles heel kind of injury where it's just like, ooh, is that gonna come back like it's supposed to? I don't know.
It's like, are we ever going to tell people to draft Victor Cruz again?
No, you know.
These are legitimate questions.
They're the questions, and to me, it's but Jimmy Graham. I mean, he's a top tight end. How do you not do it? But you're gonna really. I'm hoping in this situation, like Courtney said, that you don't have early drafts because you are going to need to see him to see, just how far he actually is in his rehab and whether he is going to be able to come back at 100% Jimmy Graham status and whether they're going to incorporate him into the offense. So that's a tough one. I don't like it. Thomas Rawls, guys, he's basically the starting running back. He's back. He's going to be the guy. Unless something crazy happens, he's the guy. But with that said, they re-signed Christian Michael. Another guy that just doesn't go away. But I think Thomas Rawls is the guy. He showed that he could perform last year. Giving him the starting role, I think he's really going to flourish. I do. I think he's kind of one of those guys that needs the reps and needs the confidence. I think he's going to do well. So I really wouldn't focus much on Christine Michael at all, or Christian, I should say. I always call him Christine, but I shouldn't pull a Courtney. Christian Michael. But focus on Thomas Rawls there. Paul Richardson, he's another tricky one, right? Because he is allegedly healthy and ready to play. We heard this song last year, too, and he came back for, I think, 1-2 games and was back out. I think he's a really talented guy. It's not just because he's a Buff and I went to see you. He really is talented, but again, injury prone. Is he worth the risk? I could see going a really super late, like 16th round flyer on him. I can understand that, but really, really risky. Jermaine Kearse signed a deal with the Seahawks. He was allegedly going to leave. There was no thoughts he was going to stay, but he is back on the team, so that is good news. Doug Baldwin is still there. There hasn't been any discussions about his contract extension yet, but he's still on the team. And then the good news is Cham Chancellor is not expected to do his holdout this year, which kind of caused some funky energy on the Seahawks last year because he's a really integral part of that defense. And with him holding out, you saw that shift when he came back to play. So he's going to be a Seahawk. He's not going to hold out. So we don't have to worry about that weird energy, at least coming into this offseason.
That'd be great, Cam with a K.
That's right. Part of the Kardashian crew.
Mm-hmm. You got it.
Are you guys drafting Doug Baldwin?
I think I am. I think they turned a corner last year.
Because he's going to go high, right? Because people are excited about
I think people
how
still have a
awesome
lot
it
of
was at
question
the
marks.
end.
I feel much better, especially that Lynch isn't there. That they've had to open up the pass, and they found out they could do it. So I feel much better about drafting Doug Baldwin this year.
We
And it's a
here
contract year.
Yeah, we here at Her Fantasy Football don't do our rankings until after the draft, the NFL draft. We think it's not worth our time And frankly, it's not. I know some
No.
people draft, and this is fine, but like, come on. Until the NFL drafts, as far as we're concerned, speaking for the other women here, we don't do it. But I'm interested to see where we rank Doug Baldwin coming out of the gates, because it's weird. Because I still think there's a lot of hesitation with that guy, though. I think he might
And
go
it's not
lower
him,
than we
it's
think. Yeah, it's the team.
It's a
It's
team.
the offense. It's the way that they move the ball down the field, and it's the way that they use their defense, like the Broncos last year. They use their defense to win games, and then they didn't. And then it was like this weird, exciting offense that came out of nowhere.
But they had weird running back woes, which forced them to throw. And it's not
yeah.
been any different this year. And with Jimmy Graham out, not out, maybe out, we don't know if he's going to be back full strength. I would put money on.
I mean, they didn't have a tight end before Jimmy Graham, so that doesn't upset me as much. But it's still,
Well, Luke
I don't
Wilson,
know.
who else?
I guess somebody on the offense from,
yeah, but
who
no.
else? Yeah. Right.
No, I would
comparison.
say I think Doug Baldwin's going to be at the bottom of the wide receiver ones.
Yes.
Whereas last year, I was able to draft him in like the 15th round. It was like no one was drafting him at all.
No, right.
Yeah,
right.
that's not going to be the
Who
case.
drafts a wide receiver from the Seattle Seahawks? And so that's, yeah, exactly. It's that stigma that they have on them that I think maybe you're right. Maybe you can get Doug Baldwin at a good price.
I do get nervous, though, because I think Thomas Rawls is going to do better than people think he will.
I think Thomas Rawls is going to do good too.
I think
Yeah.
he's going to do well, and I think they may end up putting a good focus of offense on him. But I still think that I just think, like you said, it was a change of offense, a change of tide for the Seahawks, realizing they can pass, they can throw. There is an offense in the air for them.
Well, and when Cam came back, even on the defense, it changed the offense. Him coming back affected the whole team, not just the defense.
It was almost like they were running a Kubiak offense for a while, and then they decided to run a real offense.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Kubiak.
Kubiak.
I would say, I feel like I can't wait for our rankings to come out on that, because Doug Baldwin's one of those guys where it's like, where do they, and like, how high do we rank Thomas Rawls?
Right.
He's one of the only solo back. Yeah. It's going to be tough. Glad we're back, ladies. Lots to think about.
Glad we're back. Awesome. You guys can chat with us on Facebook /HerFantasyFootball and on Twitter at HerFantasyFB. I think we'll be back later on in the month, late April, right, ladies?
We're on an every other week schedule till July when we're back on full-time.
Ish, because Ashley's going to get married in May, so it gets a little funky.
That's true. My bad, guys. My bad.
Way to get married.
Yeah. It's inexcusable for you to take time for yourself.
Yeah. Sorry.
Big events. Not cool. But yeah, so we'll be back every week by July. And then every other week, sometimes here and there, every third week until then. So it'll be great. Thanks again. And next podcast, we're going to be doing our own draft as well. And we will be drafting our teams. Who we're going to be covering for the rest of 2016. So it's going to be a good day and possibly a bad day if I get the San Francisco 49ers. So cross your fingers for me. Thank you. Until next time, no more faking it.